A UVM student in court this morning convicted for having LSD and ecstasy in his campus apartment. 20-year-old Sid Hammer told authorities he bought the drugs on what's known as the dark net with a new currency called Bitcoin. And according to court documents obtained by WPTZ, Hammer was planning to sell those drugs to students on campus.
Bitcoin is a new anonymous currency, but unlike a dollar bill, you can't hold it in your hand. It's virtual. And WPTZ's Bridget Shanahan has been checking this out, and she joins us now with her exclusive report, Bitcoin Boom. Bridget, what is this all about?
Well, Steph, Bitcoin is not just the latest craze among techies on the internet. The anonymous, decentralized currency is making waves in the virtual world, and that momentum is spreading. The unregulated currency is becoming so popular, the U.S. Senate held 2 hearings on the subject just last week. But what is it?
Am I going to have room for a big peel? Probably 2 weeks ago, if you asked if I was going to accept Bitcoin here, I'd be like, what?
But now Bitcoin is the latest thing on the menu at Felino's in Shelburne. Likely the first and only business in Vermont.
So it's 0.0307 Bitcoin.
Accepting the virtual currency.
So he just scans the QR code. That got added to my account.
In exchange for a pie.
And I just put, we accept Bitcoin here. The first 5 people that walked in had to make a comment about it. Someone's like, no, you don't really accept Bitcoin, do you? And others were like, what is it?
So really, what is it?
It's an anonymous, decentralized currency
that allows you to make transactions across the internet with virtually anyone.
It's universal. There's no banks. It's consumer to consumer, and it exists solely on the internet. The symbol for Bitcoin looks like it's straight out of a Nintendo game. It's a little bit like real money in that you can spend it, save it, and you have to keep it in a wallet.
This is what a wallet address looks like. It's a long, random string of gibberish, basically. It's a unique identifier of a wallet.
Your wallet looks a lot like an online bank account. If you want to buy something with your Bitcoin, simply transfer the BTC from your wallet to another one.
It's a very similar process to using your credit card online. You add something to a proverbial cart and you check out and you pay with Bitcoins, just like you would a credit card.
Its value lies in the math behind it. It's a series of checks and balances known as mining.
Mining is the act of verifying transactions.
Mining is done by your computer and some special hardware, solving advanced algorithms to verify transactions and to make sure Bitcoin isn't being double spent. But you don't need to mine to own. A simple Google search pulls up a long list of options. It's easy to buy in and put real cash behind your account. Once you've got it, you can use your Bitcoin on websites like WordPress, Reddit, and OkCupid. There's even a Bitcoin ATM in Vancouver.
It's perfectly legitimate. People are using it across the world right now. It's relatively straightforward to use.
Bitcoin has become so popular, it's actually losing some of its anonymity. You can log on to websites like Local Bitcoins, type in your location, and meet someone in person, like Henry here. Hi, Henry.
Hi, Bridget.
And swap money for Bitcoin. And within seconds, it shows up in your virtual wallet. You can see I've got $20 worth now.
So I'm curious, how many of you have actually heard of Bitcoin? Okay, about half of you.
Although Allison Kingsley's students may have heard of it,
Does anyone own Bitcoin?
none of them actually own it. And the University of Vermont business professor isn't sold on it either.
It is a currency, but it's really a different species of currency.
Bitcoin is not backed by anything tangible. It's ruled only by the laws of supply and demand, gaining and losing value based on users' interest, sort of like the stock market. Except it's much more unstable. It can swing up and down by hundreds of dollars within just a few hours.
It's not a stable source of value, so your exchange rates are very volatile, which impedes the functionality.
Still, with more than 600,000 wallets, interest and investments in Bitcoin continue to grow.
It's certainly been accelerating, and if you look at the kind of smart money that's headed into Bitcoin, there's been a lot. So if you just follow the trends, then it looks to be that it will be accelerating.
Now, interestingly enough, Kingsley says Bitcoin could take off in Vermont because it could help bring in more Canadian tourists who wouldn't have to convert their money to dollars for a visit. But here's the catch. I knew you knew there was one coming. As Bitcoin becomes increasingly popular, the government is becoming increasingly interested and is more likely to become involved and to try and regulate that currency. But again, as I said, the Senate just had a couple of hearings on this last week in Washington, and they were very positive, surprising a lot of Bitcoin users out there. They haven't come up with any way to regulate it, though, just yet.
I'm guessing the wild card here is the fact that people are using it anonymously to buy drugs and other stuff that they shouldn't be buying.
Exactly. We mentioned Sid Hammer at the beginning of the story. There are websites on places called the dark net. They sell heroin, meth, and pretty much any other drug you might imagine, along with guns and whatever else.
All right. Thank you so much, Bridget. And we're going to be taking a closer look at that tomorrow night right here on News Channel 5 at 6.